Hi, and welcome to tonight's Action Coaching Club live coaching call. Today is June the 9th, and this is Lou Dallow. Welcome to the call. Nice to have you here tonight. So tonight we had a couple of things planned, and we're a little bit off our schedule this week, so it's not going to go exactly as we planned, but we will do some strategy hot seat coaching if anyone here has requested it and you're present. We didn't get a chance to send out an email, but if you happen to be here and you did send in a strategy coaching request, then by all means raise your hand or type something in the GoToWebinar questions box, and we will start with a strategy coaching call. When we do the strategy coaching calls, or the strategy hot seats as it were, whether we do one or two, or depending on how many people are on the call wanting to do that, we'll do one or two probably maximum, and then we'll go into round robin Q&A mode, and that'll be just rapid fire questions one after another until we run out of questions or run out of time. Okay, so if you are new to Action Coaching Club and are not sure what the strategy coaching is all about, this is where we spend a little extra time one-on-one. It's kind of a laser coaching session. And by hot seat, what I mean by that is that we get a chance to put you and your business on the hot seat. Not you really, but mostly your business. And we look at what some of the gates, if you think about our Action Coaching Club checklist, we do have some gates in there, right? And we talk about generating traffic, building a list, creating products, making sales, managing yourself, managing the team, working with partners, things like that, right? So in any of those key success areas, if you want to drill down and get some feedback, some ideas, some suggestions, maybe you just want to sort of show up and be accountable to yourself by putting it out there, saying, hey, this is my plan, here's what I'm going to do. We'll spend maybe 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, drilling down and really hope, our goal there is to try to actually give you very specific advice. One of the things I try to do, and one of the reasons I like this so much, is that you can take a lot of courses and you can get a lot of different kinds of coaching, but what I'm attempting to do here is get to know you and your business better and better every time we speak, and actually give you some relevant, specific, custom tailored recommendations or feedback on your business, right? Because knowing all the strategies and tactics is one thing, and applying it to your business and then knowing how to respond when you get some results, I think that's the real power of coaching and the real power of the group we have here. So, I'm trying to make it so that we actually give you very unique, custom-tailored support. And so that's the focus of the laser coaching, because sometimes Q&A can be a quick, quick question, quick answer, quick question, quick answer. And those are valuable, right? Because those are the questions that we need to know to keep things going. But what I love about the strategy coaching is it's about your business, it's about what you're doing, and it's really focused to you. And hopefully, every once in a while we come up with a great idea and it can really make a difference to you. So that's what that's all about. And as I said, we'll take about 15 to 20 minutes. Now here's the thing: if you did ask for a strategy coaching request, what I'd like to ask you is that you know your most important outcome before we start. These calls, strategy coaching, sometimes I really get into it and I lose track of how much time is actually going. And so sometimes I get to the point where they're 20, 30, 45 minutes before I realize, we've been into it. And it's just because that's kind of the mode I go into. I lose track of time because I try to be very present to you and to your business. But there are time considerations we have to be aware of here. So I'm going to try my best to keep it to 15, 20 minutes. And so I want to make sure you get the best support and the most important information. So please know what that outcome is so we can focus on that. And if we run out of time, at least you got the things that are most important for you to get. And of course, we can always catch up on the other ones on a future call. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is check real quick in the background, look at the Action Coaching Club mailbox, and see if I can find some strategy coaching requests that we have not done yet. Okay. Well, Jonathan, we've done a number of strategy coaching calls with you, so I'm going to just hold on for that. Let me see. Jeffrey we did, and Sebastian we did, and Den, a request for a hot seat. Oh yeah, there you are, Den. Good. Let's start with Den. And then if we we have time, Jonathan, we might hop back to you. Want to make sure that everybody who hasn't had a chance gets a little attention on the hot seat as well. So Dan, I'm going to ask you to please press *2 on your telephone keypad, and that'll raise your hand, and then I can open your line. *2, or just type in the area code that you're calling in from, Dan, and I'll look you up here. Calling from the UK on Skype. Okay, so you're going to be one of 2 people. That looks like me. So let me try this. Hey, Dan, say hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Oops, I just I just muted myself. How about that? Great. I got your first chance, first attempt, and I got you. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to actually, is it okay if I put your email up on the screen for everybody to see?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you. We used to do this by default, and then I realized that not everybody realized that I would be actually displaying it on the screen. So I thought, well, maybe I better ask first. Okay, so.
No, that's absolutely fine.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Forgive me for rambling a bit.
Well, it is a little bit long. This is why I think it'll help to have it on screen so I don't have to read the whole thing. And actually what I'm going to do is just ask you to sort of guide me through, I've had to read through it. As people are reading through it, tell me the things that is most important for you to get from this conversation.
Okay, so we're about to launch a members-only area, and our biggest challenge is understanding the strategy for how we launch that. The key one is what level of free or dollar trial period do we implement before going into the full-blown program, which is $47 a month.
Well, what kind of product is it? Let me look here. Training DVDs. I've forgotten. Remind me about the product, and so everybody else can hear. This is it, right? It's a photography-based thing?
It's a filmmaking training business. What we do is we help guys who are in the late 30s who have always wanted to be filmmakers, but perhaps went into a job in IT or a proper career, and now realize that they really want to embrace their creative passion. And so what we do is we make it a very interactive learning community where they can come and do that from the comfort of their home or office in their free time, because they have families. They don't have $30,000 a year to go to film school, but they do want to learn. They've invested in some equipment, and they really want to learn how to go out and make better films, partially for pleasure, but some of them are thinking, actually, I want to ditch the day job and do this as a profession. Mm-hmm. So we're launching a members-only access area, which allows them to attend coaching calls, audio lessons, have access to resources. And we've identified, having done a couple of online courses with them, where they've paid, $349 for a 4-week intensive, we now want to look at continuity based on the feedback we've had. We've identified that the price point is going to be $47 for level 1 membership. And what we want to understand is, what the best advantage is, perhaps a dollar trial for 14 days or a free trial for 7 days, and then going into full payment, wondering really what the best strategy is for that. And on my call with Ellen yesterday, she said that you'd be the best person to give us some guidance on that.
Well, I do appreciate that, the referral from Ellen. Thank you. Let me see what I can do for you. So does this mean, when you say here to our existing 300 Film Look customers, so you're saying that you're going to introduce the product to a list of 300 people?
We have a 300 list of existing customers who've just spent $350 on a program with us. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to do was introduce them into the new members only area, mm-hmm. almost as beta tests. But I want to give them an extended period for free, so let's say a month. But we also have a prospect list of about 12,000, of which 40% are fairly responsive pretty much every time we contact them. So what we want to do is roll it out to those prospects. So my first point is that we want to give our existing customers a kind of, listen, thanks for being loyal, here's a month for free, worth $47, and maybe a bonus of another $50, so they feel like they've got $100 worth of value. But But the reason we wanted to kind of look at a dollar trial was just to get their credit card authorized and then agreeing to a continuity program.
Right. So there's no, I mean, it's been done every which way. Each of the ways that you're mentioning can work, and I think ultimately, you're going to want to test it a little bit. We've had mixed approaches, and they've given mixed responses. But generally speaking, here's what happens: if you offer a free trial, then obviously you'll get a whole lot of people who are tire kickers, and they'll jump in, and you'll have a very high attrition rate. So at the end of the trial period, you have a lot of people who will decide not to continue. If you offer it for $1, you will have actually quite a lot less people registering compared to the free. It sounds like it's only $1, but it's still a purchase, and so people go through the entire process of justifying, should I, and do I really want to spend $1 in all this credit card and sign up, and so
Yeah.
of course it's not like spending $100 or $200, $500, but it's a whole lot different process mentally than, oh, it's free, I'll give it a shot. And then we've also excuse me, we've also just gone ahead and sold it at full price. $47 isn't necessarily such a high price point that it would create a lot of resistance compared to, for example, $300 or $400 a month club. And as you would probably expect, we get the greatest retention out of people usually we get the greatest retention when people actually pay up front, because obviously the commitment is greater up front, and so fewer people have the intention to leave once they've actually decided they're going to pay $47. But you're going to get quite a few less people to sign up than you would for the $1 trial. And then the $1 trial, you get more signups and a higher attrition rate, or cancel rate after the period. And then of course with free, you'll get a lot of people, and you'll get a lot more people canceling. So how's it going to work in your market? Ultimately, you need to test it, because you may find that the way people respond to free trials in your market, you may find that once they get in and they like it, that they realize that they want to stay. And I think the important thing, like, I know a lot of people are a little bit, if you really want to qualify them, then you do the $1 trial. But if they're existing customers and they've already spent money with you, you might actually take one of the other two approaches, which says, well, I know they're willing to spend money with me because they already have, so why not just give them a free shot at it and let them know that if they don't cancel, we'll just continue, because they've already given me the credit card, they already like my product, they already trust me, so no big deal. I'll give them. I just want as many of my customers to have a look at this membership as I possibly can, because the chances are higher that they won't cancel than if they were just random cold leads coming in doing a trial. So that might work. You've already qualified them. That dollar entry fee on a trial is really meant to qualify people to see if they're serious. Well, these are existing customers, so they're serious, right? So why not get as many of them in there as possible? And I think for me, that's probably the way I would do it, because I like to let people have a chance to sample things free. Now, if you want to sell it for them at if you're going to sell it at full price instead of free, then what I would do is I would take the approach of saying, you guys are my insider circle, you're my existing customers, I want to be loyal to you, I want you to get the best deal possible, and then make them what I usually refer to as a charter member offer. Make them an offer that everybody else coming in later is not going to have access to. Maybe it's a lower price, maybe it's a bunch of extra bonuses, maybe you give them the gold level for the price of silver, or something that says, you're a valued customer, and for a limited number of people, for a limited number of time, I'm going to do this charter membership launch, and once I get the first 50 people, it's gone, and I want to give you the first shot at that. If you do it that way, instead of giving it free, you give it to them for either a discount, or you give it to them for the same price, but you add a lot more value. I think I found that actually gets a very good response too. What works very well for me is that I publish a price. Let's say a year down the road, if you had 10,000 members in this thing, you might want to, instead of charging $47, you might want to charge $97. right? Because you'll have a
Yeah.
lot of people, you'll have enough money to reinvest in content, you'll have a lot more opportunity to create events and more value. And of course, after a year, the site is a lot more valuable and so on. And so you might come up with
Yeah.
even more member perks and stuff like that. So what I will tell people is, my goal here is that once I reach a certain level of membership, it's going to be $97 a month. So right now I'm in the membership drive phase, if you will, and you can be a charter member, and if you get in now, you'll lock in your charter member price for as long as you remain a member. Once you quit, you've got to come back in at the $97, but right now you can get in for 47. And I find that works really well. And also the reason I like that is because if you're successful and the members do start coming in, it's actually pretty easy to raise your price, because you've been saying that that's what your intention was all along. So nobody's going to say, hey, how come you raised the price all of a sudden? In fact, what you'll get a chance to do is, before you raise the price, you'll be able to do another huge membership drive and say, price of this is going up. And so this is your absolute last chance, so you can actually launch that like every month or two until you reach the point where you have so many members that you're happy to charge 97, and nobody will begrudge you because you made a promise and you kept it.
Yeah, perfect. That's absolutely brilliant, Lou, because what we have done is we've just run a 26 email campaign over the last 2 months with our prospect list, and those that didn't buy the big 4-week training program are almost certainly going to give this membership a go.
Mm-hmm.
And so this gives us a perfect opportunity. We were selling a program at $349 for 4-week intensive, and now we're saying, well, if that wasn't for you, we've got this amazing opportunity to be part of this community for only $47, and it is going to be 97. For anyone who were thinking, I didn't want the whole thing, I just want bite-sized chunks, this gives them an opportunity. And what we've understood about our market is that they love community. They love to feel part of something. Mm-hmm. We know that by just getting them into this community, and obviously that page you're looking at is unfinished, but the nuts and bolts of that. So they come in the door and go, wow, look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think kind of the rule is generally, isn't it? They come for the content, but they stay for the community.
Mm-hmm.
That's great advice. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And the site's looking really good. I mean, it looks like it's built out, and it's really visually appealing. Looks like you've got a lot of you've got bonuses, and you've got the training and the community. It looks really good. It looks really good. So I think that it definitely looks like there's enough in there that's worth 47 a month. And I dare say you could get that up to 97 once you start doing more live webinars and presentation and Q&A calls and coaching calls with your members. It'd be pretty reasonable to expect that. The other thing I would recommend you think about is, once you start filling this up with your inner circle, and you start getting more members in it and so on, just to sort of keep people coming in, you might offer it as a default upsell to whenever anybody buys anything from you, just add something to the shopping cart that they can just check it, and get a free 30-day trial. In other words, well, actually, you have to be a little bit careful, because here in North America, people were kind of hiding continuity programs, and the credit card companies took big offense to that, and there was a big brouhaha about it. But if you do it in a very visible way, which is either you have a distinct and separate thing that they literally have to check. It's not checked by default, and it's not a one-click upsell. It's literally something that says, hey, because you're buying this product now, you have a unique opportunity to join our f-stop community. Here's what it's all about. And by the way, you just to give you a chance to look it over, we're going to give you the first 2 weeks free. So if you're interested, give it a 2-week free trial by checking the box below. And after 14 days, if you want to continue, you don't need to do anything. If you choose not to continue, and we'll start billing you $47 a month. If you choose not to continue, just send an email, and you won't ever be billed. So you have to work around that credit card things. A lot of people are recommending now that you actually make it a post-transaction upsell, just to avoid any complication. Like if your credit card company sees a purchase for the original product and then a purchase for the trial, then they're going to say, okay, great, there was no hidden continuity here, nobody got fooled, everybody knew what was going on. But I would start using that as an upsell, put it on all my thank you pages, put it on whether it's an opt-in thank you page or a product purchase thank you page, whether it's an upsell, a cross-sell. I would start promoting either the free or the $1 trial everywhere.
Now that's just the opt-in thank you page is a great one, because we have about 12,000 on our list, and as I say, about 4,000 of them we use Infusionsoft, and we can see 4,000 people on average open every email we send them. And we've been sending them a lot of great free-line content without really pushing too much in the way of sales, apart from this campaign launch we did a month ago. And so, I feel very comfortable starting to kind of put those offers in, as it were, to just come and try it out. So I think that 14-day free trial on almost every email, every fifth email would be great, I think, and all the opt-ins. And the other question I had was just slightly related to that, and that is I've heard from a couple of sources here in the UK that Google are getting very funny about the traditional landing page, because our plan was to create dozens of landing pages to target the different niche research that we've done with each of our avatars. Do you have any insight into whether or not this is true?
Oh, yeah, it's very true, very true. And it's not that they're just starting to take a dim view. It's been that way for about a year and a half. In fact, they're shutting down accounts for that purpose. So yeah, they have very specific requirements now for landing page. In fact, they have changed their policies that actually says, your landing page may not be strictly for the purpose of getting, customer information. So what if you do? What we recommend you think about doing if you want multiple landing pages and so on is to create a blog, and that blog basically has a bunch of articles on it, but each article in essence is an opt-in offer, and at the bottom of the article is the opt-in box, and so you've got a nice thick blog with a lot of fresh content. Google won't complain about that. You've got all the navigation in the footer. You have all your categories for the articles are keyword related, so it's very nicely themed for SEO as well. And it just looks like an article directory. They don't mind if you have a lot of content. They don't mind if you ask for the opt-in on every page. So normally that's what I'm having folks do. And you literally could have a blog, which is nothing but a bunch of opt-in pages, but it looks like an article directory because it all has pretty decent content and so on.
And could I do that within? I mean, the members area is actually part of our main website.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't scream at your membership site as soon as you arrive. Could I put all my landing pages as just pages on that site, because it's going to be indexed well, it's going to get a lot of backlinks, and so actually just include the landing pages almost as part of my website?
Sure. Yep. Yeah. You definitely could. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the implication of. No, I think that should be fine. I think it's actually should be quite fine, because I think that as long as people come to that site, even though you drive them to what is ostensibly an opt-in page, as long as there's navigation to other articles and it's part of a bigger site, Google won't mind. Here's the challenge: you're not going to get as high a conversion, right? Because people won't be faced with a squeeze page; they'll be faced with a blog page, which means that they can navigate around, and so you have to have a little bit more of a compelling offer, but it's still a very viable way to do it. In fact, for Google, I would recommend you do that, because if you don't, you could run afoul of their terms of service.
Well, this is it. We started building landing pages and we got this word, so we didn't put them live. We actually tested this blog concept with a product we have called DSLR Video on Assignment, which is a very specific niche product. And we got about 700 people opting in just on organic search because we did this blog style. So I am familiar with that, and so we'll just do more of that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. You won't have the same problem with Facebook, but if you're doing Google, you have to be really careful these days. They're getting pickier and pickier all the time. So you absolutely want to have a thick site. No more 2-page mini sites with a squeeze page. They don't work.
And do you still feel that Google is still a significant source of traffic? Because I know that we've been doing some testing with Facebook adverts, and they've been very successful for us as well. Is it a case of having multiple pillars of traffic?
Yeah, I like the idea of having as many traffic sources as possible, but I will tell you that Google is getting trickier to work with all the time. And what I would be especially careful about is, make sure that you're very familiar with the terms of service. Now, if you're promoting to your own page, it's probably going to be okay, because even if they shut your account down, you'll be able to go and, you can then say, oh, okay, I'll make the changes. Now my site is compliant. Please look at it again. I just had a situation recently where, about a year ago, I was running one of these calls, and I walked through in a temporary Google account, one that I hardly ever used. I walked through the process of designing the ads, and I happened to choose. I just went to ClickBank and said, "What's here?" Truthaboutabs.com. That's great, and I never assigned any keywords to it. I never ran the ad. I mean, if it ran during the hour that I was in the Guru coaching call. I paused it and deleted it in my account, and then like a month ago or so, I get this message that they shut down my account. And it's not like it's shut down
Wow.
until you fix it. It's shut down. You're permanently banned. So I called them back and I said, well, what's that all about? Well, it turns out that they actually changed their policy. And when they changed their policy, the page I was pointing to suddenly was non-compliant. And so they shut my account down because I had an ad that was non-compliant. Now I want you to remember what I just said. That ad was not running. It had no keywords, and it had actually been either paused or deleted from my account. So they went into my history and found that I'd linked to that page and actually shut it down. Now here's the problem. If it would have been to one of my pages, I could have brought it into compliance, and I could have resubmitted and requested that they reconsider my account suspension.
Yeah.
Because it was going to a third-party page, it isn't enough for me to delete the ad. The only way that you can get your account reactivated is if that page is brought into compliance. Well, I have no control over that third party, and that third party just happens not to care about Google because they got so sick and tired of dealing with that BS of constantly shifting policies that they went and got a whole bunch of other traffic sources. So there's nothing. So basically, they're ignoring me when I say, "Are you guys planning to bring your pages into compliance? Because my account got shut down." Right. So if you're doing this, if you're pointing, do as much as possible to point to pages that you control, because then if your pages do get shut down, or your sites or your account gets shut down, at least you have the ability to go in and bring them into compliance. Be very careful when you're pointing to third-party sites, like if you're doing any affiliate promotions or anything like that, because you can get tagged as soon as they change their policy and your affiliate partner's page suddenly is out of compliance. Your account gets shut down, and guess what? If all of the rest of your business, 99% of it, was to your community, but one link went to that partner page that suddenly is out of compliance, all of your Google campaigns are suddenly dead, right? So I do recommend, and by the way, I think that can happen with Facebook, it can happen with MSN, it can happen with anybody. So I strongly encourage you to do as many, diverse and as many numerous and diverse sources of traffic as you can.
Yeah, now that's great news. I mean, to be honest, we're only really going to be selling at this moment in time our direct membership, and within that membership, we're then going to be making offers available to our members. But we've got them in the membership there, so it's really just a question of attracting the customers. But I've been talking with Ellen about this, and we see it. We kind of know where we believe most of our traffic is, and it was just the Google and Yahoo and pay-per-click stuff was very much on my radar to be looking at next. But that's great advice, Lee. Thank you.
Yeah, and one last thing I would say is also look into the content network, because if you can put an ad and have it displayed on a photography site, even though it's a banner ad, it's not a search ad, but it's a very highly targeted audience. And so if you can find the top 50 or 100 photography blogs and forums and directories and information sites and so on, and you can have your ad show up there, you're going to pay a lot less than you would pay-per-click. Of course, you'll get less conversion rate, but you could pay cost per thousand instead of cost per click, and it could literally be 1/10 of your costs, and you'll be in front of a highly targeted community.
Yeah, and something else we really want to get into is retargeting or remarketing, where someone, I think that's going to be very powerful. I've been seeing it in action and realizing that if we can make a great offer on our site to get some free information, get people to our site to at least touch even the home page, and then they'll be retargeted.
Yep.
But
Yep.
the plan is to put opt-in boxes and test opt-in boxes throughout the site.
Yep. Yep. I think you're on the right track, and you got a lot of good stuff going for you there. And you know, and
Another thing I want.
beg your pardon?
Go on. I was going to say, well, the other thing I wanted to ask you was, in every course we've launched, we've offered 2 levels. One is the kind of basic member, and one is the premium level. And on the first launch, we had about a 10% uptake on the premium. And so I'm feeling that should we, in fact, be offering a high-price member option as well, which is maybe 5 times the $47 mark for a kind of elite option, or do you think that's something we should phase in time?
You know, if you have something that is worth that additional fee, and that you think that you know, there's a market for it, I would. But otherwise, I think it's fine if you focus on building this membership, and then you can upsell people once they're in there. You know, you can create a new premium membership based on what you discover their needs to be and where they perceive to have the greatest value, and then you can create the premium one based on that. If you have a good idea of what that is already, well, you certainly can. In fact, there's an argument to be made that says you give people a free trial into your premium membership, and if they choose not to take it, you downsell them into the lower membership. So I've seen that done as well. But if you're going to do that, you want to be really confident about the high ticket offer, because you know, that's hard to keep going. If people are going to be paying you $200, $300, $400 a month, you know, you're going to have to really deliver on that every month. So be sure you can, otherwise you'll get a lot of attrition.
Well, the other thing is in this market space, we are the first site to be charging for information. Now, we've done some research on this, because a lot of people are blogging and giving it away for free, but the challenge that our members are facing is that it's so confusing. They want one trusted source, and so we're very much positioning ourselves as the trusted source. And part of our program is about teaching people how to make money with video. So we talk about pricing strategies, and therefore we can't do it for free, even if I wanted to, which would be ridiculous, because we want to charge a premium price. Everyone else is doing it for free, and sites are falling over because they can't sustain it. But we've got a very strong marketing message which says we teach you how to make money from this. Therefore, we can't do it for free. Therefore, we charge $47 a month, and that's going to be, you know, 3-4 times the value every month of your investment. So, you know, I think that's answered that question. I think we're going to stick with the 47, build it up, and then we can upsell internally.
Yeah, I think that's the way I would do it. I take usually an incremental approach to it, because I figure if I can get like 2 or 3 or 5,000 people in at 47, that they're going to be my best co-creators of the high ticket program. And then when I release it, you know, probably, you know, I usually get 10, 20, 30% of folks who are in like an insider circle group like that to say yes, and that's a great market test. I like to develop it based on feedback from the folks that I'm serving, rather than to try to imagine what value they might perceive and do it that way. So that happens to be the way that I approach it. It's a little bit slower of a roll, but I find that I get, you know, I'm successful 7 out of 10 times instead of 3 out of 10 times that way. So that's a good trade-off for me.
Yeah. Well, that sounds terrific. And what is there any sort of advice you can give us on what we should expect as an attrition rate on a program, just as a ballpark? I mean, you know, for example, we've been getting some feedback that our open rate for our emails, our conversion rate for our people is very high. So we feel that we've got a very responsive list. I mean, so we're getting about a 40% open rate on our email marketing. And so just so we can sort of prepare ourselves and manage our own expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, what will be the level for us to expect in the pushing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's different, right, for every market. But most people who, when I do membership and continuity programs with any of my clients, we usually plan around a 3-month attrition rate. That seems to be the magic number. There's like people will stay for 2, 3, sometimes 4 months, and then they'll drop off. And so, and you know, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Like in my coaching group, I have about an 18-month attrition rate. And I do a couple of very strategic things to make sure that that happens. But if you were to take an average continuity site, 3-4 months is about what you should plan for. If you get better than that, you're doing awesome. And now I'll give you one super secret tip that has made hundreds of thousands and in fact millions of dollars of difference to some of my clients, and that is you can offer $47 a month. And now you could do this right up the front, or you can wait and see what your attrition rate is. But let's say, for example, that you discover your attrition rate was 3 months, 4 months, right? And so you could offer someone the ability to buy a lifetime membership for the price of a year or 18 months. So think about the psychology of that, right? So if I say to you, okay, Dan, you can get into this and it's $47 a month. So as long as you're a member, even though you're paying 50% of the actual price because this is charter membership, but if you want, while I'm in the middle of this charter ramping up this charter membership, I'm also going to offer you a lifetime membership. So you could pay $47 a month, or you could be with me for a lifetime for $397. So what do? I immediately go 47 times 12 is 480. Well, let's say you said 247, right? So I'm thinking, so that's 47. That's 480. If I paid, 97, it would be like $1,000. He's getting it to me for 247. Geez, how can I say no? Because then I can just stay forever. Well, guess what? On average, they were going to leave after 3 or 4 months anyway. So you would only be making $150 on average anyway. So guess what? You just give yourself a 9-month retention rate automatically.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. This is really powerful stuff, Lou. It's just exactly what we need, because we're just on the cusp of, getting the last things tested, and I want to make sure it's some strong strategies in place for this.
Yeah, if I were you, I would ramp up the membership as quickly as you can and watch for a few months what the retention rate is, because you might be selling, you might end up selling the lifetime membership too short. In other words, it may turn out that your folks like to stay for 6 months, in which case you can have a higher lifetime membership, right? If you make it equivalent to 9 months, then you're still coming out ahead. But if it's a 3-month membership, then you might decide to make it a 6-month lifetime cost, right? So it's good to get a little bit of data before you jump into that, so you don't undersell your lifetime value.
Yeah, that's really powerful. So I'm just writing these notes down.
Okay, Dan. So we need to wrap up. But let me ask you this. So based on our conversation, what are you inspired to do? What do you think your takeaway action items are?
Well, the most significant one is that this is going to be a $97 program, but the charter membership, that's the real thing that's sticking with me. Our members, our list feel very passionate that we're giving them great value, and they love to feel part of something. And if we're giving them this kind of opportunity to come in on something early, they will absolutely bite our hands off for that. I know that with some confidence. And certainly the notion of the lifetime membership is just genius. Those are the two things which immediately stick out as, and I suppose the third thing is offering this 14-day free trial, or whenever someone buys something, or maybe make it a $1 trial when we've got somebody coming in straight off an opt-in.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So would you be willing to come back and let us know how things go after you get a chance to test them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we plan to go. We literally are moving server tomorrow, and we've got a few tweaks on the page. We've got a problem with the wish list upload which we need to fix, which our web designer is working on. And then we're basically more content going in, and we've got a sales page already pretty much built. It's all ready to go live sort of next week.
Beautiful. Great. Well, I'm excited for you. Good luck with that. And please come back and check in and let us know how it's going.
Thank you very, very much, Lou. Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome. Good work tonight, Dan. And that was good information for everybody. So great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I like that. I love talking about membership sites. It's my favorite thing to do. By the way, if you're a coach or a service provider or an independent professional, speaker, whatever, if you're out there as an expert and you're offering any kind of private coaching or group coaching even, a lot of the conversation we just had, go back and listen to it, because any coach that works with me right now, their average retention rate for a client is somewhere between 9 and 18 months. If you go in the industry, the average retention rate for a client is 3 months for an average coaching engagement. So that's like, somewhere between 3 and 6 times as much money just from the strategy that I shared with Den a little bit earlier. And it absolutely applies to you if you're a coach, a speaker, a trainer. If you have a coaching group, a membership site of any kind, continuity of any kind, you can multiply your results, almost 10 times just by that simple shift of, knowing what the retention rate is and working from that, working backwards to offer a long-term customer engagement. All right. Great. And one more thing. And I'm not talking just about your $47 programs. My $25,000 a year program is exactly that. It was, I got tired of only working with people for 2 or 3 months, and just when they were on the verge of success, they gave up. And so I said, that's crazy. I don't like taking people 80% of the way there. I want to go 120% of the distance with them. So I started qualifying people better and saying, you want to work with me, it's going to be 25 grand a year up front. And you would think that that'd be a hard sell, right? It's actually not. When you're talking to the right people, they're thrilled to see someone has a long-term vested interest in their business. So don't you know what? Try it. Let me just say that. No matter what your brain is saying to you now about how impossible it is, just try it. You may surprise yourself. Okay, let me see what else I've got in here. Leanne, we talked to Leanne. So we're done with the strategy calls. I don't see any more like specific strategy calls in the mailbag. So I'm just going to run through a couple of questions. People have been waiting for like a week or two to get their questions answered, and then we'll go to the live questions that you guys have typed in here. So we'll get it all done tonight, I think. Okay, Pia, not a question. She's just saying she listens to the recordings and she got some value out of the recording that we did for her. Great. That's awesome, Pia. I'm glad that we were able to help you virtually. Okay, so Enio Tavares. Enio, are you on the line? If you're on the line, go ahead and press star 2 to raise your hand, or just go and just type something into the GoToWebinar box, please. Hi, Enio, is that you? No, okay, someone else. All right, so I'm going to, this is another one that came over from Ellen. Ellen's sending all her folks over here, that's great. Okay, I'm going to put this up on the screen. I don't see anything in here that should be a problem, and in terms of confidentiality or anything like that, so let me go ahead and pop this up and bring it where you can all see it with me. And Enio, you will be listening to this later on audio, I presume, so hope you enjoy it and hope we come up with something good for you. So let's see, I got into the Action Club for a month now. I'm working with Ellen. Although she's been terrific, she asked me to contact you to solve some doubts I have. It's a long email, but I had to explain so I understand my doubts. Okay, that's cool. So until now, I've already done some market research, defined my customer avatar, did my elevator speech, and defined a survey to gather more information. The customer avatar had to do a lot of guesswork. I know this is not the appropriate way, and it's not the ACC proposal, but here in Brazil, there's a lot more info about them in Portuguese. Actually, Enio, if that's all you have, to get started with, that's as good a place as any. Sometimes we start with a guess, and we put stuff out there and see if we guessed right. And sometimes, we actually guess right. And if you know your market, and especially if you are one of the people in your market, it's a pretty educated guess. So it's not a bad way to start if that's all you have available access to. My prospective clients are photographers starting out their careers. Wow, this is like Den. In corporate and advertising photography. What I want to help them to achieve is properly define their pricing strategy and learn how to negotiate with their clients. So I'm a photographer as well. There you go. So you are your market, so you probably have a really good understanding of their needs. Your company website is Emporio Imagen. Okay. And in order to get the real hot buttons and the most precise definition, I decided to conduct a national survey using my Facebook page as the hub for the content. So the plan is thinking about talking to the most prestigious bloggers in photography to help me spread the word, use some contacts in magazines, talk to photography students in universities and courses. I have someone from AF Design designing my Facebook intro page. The clients will be able to see my content only if they like my Facebook page first. I have a Wufoo account. So if you guys aren't familiar, Wufoo is a survey, a form/survey. It's actually more like a form, an internet, a website form application where I designed and host the survey. I got a MailChimp account where the info is collected, and they'll be integrated from the time like my user Facebook page through filling the survey in my company website until getting an email confirming the opt-in to my newsletter. All right. So that's which would be the best way to handle the survey on Facebook. How to spread the word wisely to get people to my Facebook page. My conversion story should be presented in text or video. And then you have your elevator speech. Okay, so I'm going to say that a survey, obviously, we like the idea of a survey. But for me, I haven't had much luck advertising the survey. The only time it does seem to work is when there's a benefit to the prospect for filling out the survey. In other words, why would I take my time if I just got to your Facebook page and I don't know you from Adam? Why would I take my time filling out a survey? You know, a lot of people have problems with surveys. They kind of think that it's sort of a sneaky way to get private information from you. So there's already a little kind of built-in resistance for a lot of people. Then before I develop a relationship with you, I'm not sure that I want to give you much more than my email address, and even then sometimes I'm reluctant to do it. And so filling out a survey, maybe, you know. So I think if you're going to do that, think about, instead of positioning it as a survey, think about positioning it as an event or a contest, or you know, make it so that there's something so valuable, get them engaged and participating, rather than saying, hey, I want to know your deepest fears, frustrations, and desires. You know, like if I landed on a page like that, I'd go, yeah, whatever, and I'd be off in no time at all, right? But if it said, hey, I'm doing a free training in a few weeks' time, and I'm going to talk about the top 10 mistakes that photographers make when they're working with clients. I'm going to be teaching you, you know, how to negotiate with the clients, how to get the best deal possible. And it's going to be a 90-minute training, and it's going to be based on the things that are most important to you. So to make that to make this training absolutely relevant and valuable for you, I'd like to the cost of registration for what was normally a $200 event, my coaching fee, the cost for registration is simply that you answer a couple of questions for me, and here are the questions. Okay, so something like that. Or you can make it, and you know, by the way, if you answer the questions, you also are eligible to win an iPad, or you know, something that they really want and they value, that it's worth them taking their time and giving you their personal information, especially if they don't know you yet. If they're coming from advertising or PR or magazines, a lot of people online, they're a little bit, you know, identity theft is a problem, and security is an issue, and you know, too much unsolicited email is another problem. So you need to connect with them, not at the level of the survey, but connect with them at the level of what they want, that you know that they want. Give them something of value, make it fun, make it an event, engage them, and make this survey almost just in passing. Oh, by the way, in order for you to participate, I just want to ask you a few questions. Okay. If you focus on them, on what they want, helping them solve their problems to the extent that you know, or even if you don't know, giving them a promise to deliver a solution, a report, a video, a training, a webinar. Once you've finished your survey, that's going to be, people are probably going to respond a lot more, people are going to be more likely to participate in that than if it's just a one-way, hey, give me information, and you know, there's no clarity about what they get in return. Okay, so that's the first thing I would recommend to you. The other thing I would recommend to you is, you know, you are your market. You know the problems that you want to solve for the photographers, and you probably have a good guess of something that they really want or is going to be really valuable to them. So what I prefer to do is, I get pretty good response from surveys when I send them out to a list of people who regularly read my stuff and who've been getting a little bit of value from me, some content that, I've established authority, I've established relationship, I've given them value, there's some reciprocity, there's some authority involved, those kind of things. And then when I say, by the way, could I get you to answer a couple of quick questions on my survey? Then not only do they respond better, but oftentimes they're very grateful that I take the time to ask them, because they know that what I want to do is, come up with really important and valuable stuff to help them out. So I would probably still, well, not probably, my preference, my absolute preference in the way that I do this is I only ask questions or do surveys for people who have been on my list for a while. And only after I've given it, had a chance to give them value, establish that I have some competence in the field, I give them something of value that they don't have to give me anything for, to establish a little bit of liking and reciprocity and authority. And then maybe even, very often I'll just pull my customer list. I was saying to Den before, right? If you have a membership of 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people, they are going to be your most responsive, most loyal, and probably the most valuable feedback that you're going to get. So that's the way I tend to use my my surveys. I don't put them out to cold prospects. I offer something first for you, build a relationship, establish my expertise, add a little bit of value, create a little reciprocity, and then the email that says, hey, could I ask a quick favor, gets opened about 30-35% of the time instead of 10 to 15% of the time. So I might recommend you consider doing that. Now, so if you are going to, and by the way, 6 questions on a survey that are essay style, never going to happen. Okay, these are the questions that you're asking here, the survey, that's going to take time for somebody. So what you really want is 1 or 2 questions, and if possible, don't make them essay style, because this starts to look like a government form that people are filling out. I mean, just looking at these open-ended questions, what is your biggest frustration about starting and maintaining that? That's what I would probably recommend you do here is offer them 4 choices, A, B, C, or D, and then put other. Okay, so I know it's better to ask the open-ended question, but if you're going to ask 6 questions, you got to remove that resistance. You got to make it as easy as possible. They got to finish this thing in 20 to 30 seconds, because nobody has that much attention on the internet. Unless there's something in it for them. And even then, even if I was going to give them a free webinar, free, enter them in a contest, whatever else, myself personally, I'd make it 1, maybe 2, maximum 3 questions, and preferably click, 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 instead of, write me a few sentences or paragraph on each one. Okay, so if you're going to do that, simplify the survey. The survey that you're asking here is for inside customers, people who know you, people who are willing to take the time to engage with you and tell you what they want. It's not for new, cold, fresh leads. I think your response rate will be fairly low. Okay, so what you could do is offer something of value, and then on the thank you page, you could put this survey. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, even if they don't answer your survey, no problem, because now they're on your list. Now at least, or they're Facebook fans. At least now you have a chance to do the relationship building, the authority, establishing authority, creating reciprocity, and so on. So my recommendation to you is, if you're going to do this, if you're going to drive people to survey, start with something that is more what's in it for them, and then ask them to participate in the survey. Consider making it an event. Consider making it a contest. Consider promising that you're going to give them the results of your survey in a very educational, informative way, like a webinar or a video or a report or something. And preferably get them on your list before you ask them to take a survey. And then finally, keep the survey as simple as possible. Okay, so that would be my feedback to you. Hopefully that answers your question. How to spread the word wisely on Facebook page? Well, really, you until you have a fan base, it's kind of hard, right? I mean, so what you're going to want to do is participate in Facebook groups, get involved in conversations, try to get as many friends as you can. But until you get that following, it's hard to get the word to spread. Now, obviously, if you have a very exciting contest and something really fun that people, or educational, people want to be a part of, then when they like your page or they sign up for your survey, then ideally all of their friends see that on their wall, and then they'll come over. But what I would recommend you think about doing is actually run an ad on Facebook to promote your contest or to promote your fan page and whatever. Build a list of followers. So literally advertise your page until you have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 followers. Then offer something like an event, so that out of those 3,000 people, let's say 500 come and actually participate. Well, then all of their friends and followers are going to see that, and then they might come over. So the best way that I know of to spread the word quickly is to have a good fan base yourself first. Otherwise, you're kind of leeching off other people as best you can, but you're not really offering any value yet, right? So the other thing you might consider doing is if you create that thing that's really valuable for people, then you could go to forums and groups and even Facebook groups and Yahoo forums and offer that thing for free. And where do they get it? Well, they have to come to your fan page and they have to like your fan page, and then they get the thing for free. So now you're building up your fan base. You don't have to pay for advertising, but the key is you're building up your fan base of people who are interested. Okay, so my preferred way is just to buy advertising. But otherwise, you can use all the regular traffic strategies that you normally would have used to bring people to an opt-in page, except this time bring them to your fan page, right? So write articles, create YouTube videos, do blog posts, maybe even do pay-per-click, buy advertising. All of those options that we had for driving traffic to your opt-in page or to your blog post or whatever, they all apply. The only difference is that now you drive them to your your Facebook page. Don't drive them to your wall. Drive them to a new tab that actually has a great offer for them to become fans. Conversion story. Text or video depends on depends on when you show it to people, where it is. Because if you're doing it in an email as part of a sales letter, it would be fine in text. If you're doing it as part of a launch or a presentation style, 3-video launch, then you would do it in video. I think, obviously, we always say if you can do it in video, you're probably going to connect better with people. So if it makes sense, I would say do it in video. But if you have a written form, if it's an email or a newsletter or an article or a story or something, that's okay too. But I think that if it was me, I would probably prefer video. Like if it's on your sales letter, you might want to make a video. If it's a long form sales letter, I think, in fact, if it was on a long form sales letter, I would probably write it out. If it was a short form sales letter where the emphasis was, if it was a video sales letter, right? So if the emphasis was watch this video, this is my sales letter, then of course I would put in the video. But if you only have a video that kind of introduces the sales letter and the bulk of the sales letter is written, then I would just include the conversion story written, because keep them in the modality that they're in. If you put 4, 5, 2, 3, 4 videos throughout the sales letter, they may get watched, they may not. My experience is people just scroll by them and continue reading anyway, right? But if you have it there and they don't watch it, that's fine. If you have it there and they prefer video over reading, then they'll get it both ways. So if it was on a sales letter, you might even consider doing it both ways. But on a sales letter, I would probably, if it was a long form written sales letter, I would probably do it in text. If it was a short form video based one, just of course include it in the video. Okay, so I think we've covered all your questions. The best way to handle the survey on Facebook, yeah, that if you Google for Facebook survey applications, you're going to find a whole bunch of options there. Okay, some are free, some are paid, but there are some applications that you can add to your Facebook page that are basically surveys. So you should go into Google and type in quotation marks Facebook survey applications or Facebook survey apps, APPS. All right, good. Hopefully that helped. And be really happy if you send me an email and let me know if that was helpful or if you have any follow-up questions. Okay, Ennio? All right, let me see what else we have here. That was Dan. So Julie, we talked to last time. Okay, William. Okie dokie. Let's bring this over. The indie songwriter. Yes, I remember you well, my friend. Okay. You really helped with the conversation to conversion outline, the first 7 autoresponders we should create. Excellent. Glad to help. A concept about the avatar I'm having a bit of trouble with is what Eben calls the voice of your customer. What's the difference between that and the unique language of your customer? Wow, I don't even know if I know that what you're referring to. Let me keep reading. Maybe I'm having difficulty because I'm not a native English speaker. I've heard the term copywriting voice, which I thought was related to the tone of your communications, like commanding, ironic, understanding, judgmental or not, while language, a unique language seems to be the unique specific lingo people use with specific subject or tribal context. Is that it? Well, I think the way you're interpreting is probably correct. I don't know if that's specifically how Eben meant it, because I'm trying desperately to remember where he talks about these in the training, and I'm not connecting with it. If you're on a call and you have, if you've heard this recently, if you know what Guillermo is referring to, type something in there and let me know. But here's what I think it means, and in many ways it overlaps, right? I don't think the voice of your customer has to do with copywriting, in fact. I think the voice of your customer has to do with the language that's going on inside your customer's head. In other words, you know, what are the problems that they're thinking about? What are the things that they want desperately, that they're dreaming about? You know, the fears, frustrations, needs, and desires. And so the voice of your customer is, to me, when you're speaking the language that connects with them, because that's what what's in their highest consciousness, right? That's what they're most afraid of. That's what they most desire. And so you want to appeal to the emotions and to the needs and to the language. You want to sound like the voice that's going on inside their heads already. So for example, in my market, it's very common for people to have tried a lot of programs, tried a lot of things to get online. They start to feel overwhelmed. You know, they've spent a lot of money. They don't have results to show for it. You know, they've bought all sorts of courses from all sorts of people, and they're just really tired. You know, after 12 to 18 months, they've spent a lot of money. They've learned a lot, but they don't have any business to show for it. And so when I connect with them at that level, oh, and the other part of the voice in their head is, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to start, and technology is killing me. I don't know the steps to follow. So when I'm talking to them or teaching them about anything or giving them tips or suggestions or processes, resources, anything that I want to add value, I'm always thinking about putting it in the context of that voice in their head, right? So if you're experiencing a real challenge with knowing exactly what to do next, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're spending money every which way and nothing's creating results, so stop. What I have for you is something that is a step-by-step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, and I want you to follow it precisely. And if you do that, you'll have your website up and you'll start building a list. There's nothing else you need to think about. I will tell you exactly what you need to do, exactly what order you need to do, exactly where to get the resources to do it, and how much you need to spend on it, right? And so I'm talking in their voice. Now, the unique language, I think, refers to, like, if you're talking to certain kinds of groups, like if you talk to, when I was in California, I used to hang out on the ocean a lot. I was kind of a surfer dude. Well, the surfer guys have their own language, half of which I never really quite understood. But they have, short forms and abbreviations and acronyms, and they have slang that they use to refer to their boards. They have a culture. The word dude was like everywhere. The brand names of the equipment that they bought and what they called the waves and how they distinguish between big waves and small waves. They had a unique word for all of it. It was almost like a completely different language, right? Because that culture, that group of that community, they connected with each other and they identified with each other through the common element of language and terms and slang and acronyms and brand names that the outside world just didn't know, right? So that's what I kind of think about as the language of the customer, is what is it about that community? How do they say, you know, um, technology is an issue, is an example of this, right? Like if you sit around and listen to a bunch of engineers talk, they may as well be from Mars, because they're using 3-letter acronyms for everything. And they might say, hey, I just got a XYZ from an ABC when I was trying to do the testing on the YYZ from the IBM to the MSN. And if you're an outsider, you're going, what in the world are they saying? But to them, it's perfectly clear communication, because that's the unique language of their community, right? Same thing for gamers, same thing for dog trainers, same thing for coaches and speakers, same thing for internet marketers. I mean, if you really think about some of the things that we say, what about avatar? What about list building, traffic generation? All of these things are the language of our community, okay? So that's kind of the distinction I make. The language is how we communicate and we bond, that tribal thing that you're referring to, the tribal context. And then the voice, I think, is connecting with what's going on, the voice in your client's head, so that you're establishing rapport and you're showing them that you understand their experience well enough to be able to offer a solution to it. Okay, so I think that without knowing for sure which training of Eben's this is in, that's kind of my best guess. That's the way I would interpret those two, and that's how I would distinguish between the two. Also, in my indie music market, do I really need to make my avatar male or female? I know that I get more visits from females in my social media platforms, but I also tend to add as a friend the beautiful girls more. So that data is not very scientific. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, do you have to? Probably not for music. I mean, generally speaking, men and women are equally interested in music, equally interested in becoming songwriters. If for some reason you had a very unique solution that was particularly relevant or applicable to women or something like that, then I would. But from what I know of you and your business and so on, I don't think so. And hey, listen, if you have a lot of beautiful girls on your social platform, chances are it'll attract a whole bunch of guys anyway. So I think knowing that, knowing what you're trying to do, you know, establish that record label and get some independent artists and things like that, I think, you know, male, female, not a distinction that I would necessarily make on the surface. If you find a reason to do it, by all means. But from what I know of your business at this point, I don't think I would. Okay, and enjoy that. Enjoy all those beautiful girls on your fan page. Congratulations. All right. Who else have I not answered for a long time? Michelle. Sebastian, we talked to last time. Okay, good. I think I've handled all of the mailbag questions that we didn't get to yet. Hopefully I'm not... just going to have a quick look. Everybody else I think we talked to. So I think we're clear on that. So I'm going to go ahead and take questions from you guys on the call live tonight. So Den says, oh yeah, we talked to Den about the Google things. Jeff, hey, welcome back. Your conquest in Houston. Woohoo! Nice going. Sebastian says, hey, Lou, is Yahoo, Bing, and the other main search engines okay for PPC opt-in pages? Well, Yahoo and Bing right now, by the way, have merged. So they are now known as MSN Ad Center. And as far as I know, they are still, I haven't read their terms of service lately because I don't do a lot of PPC advertising myself right now. Most of my stuff, as you know, is joint venture based, referral based, and webinar event based. So that tends to be the bulk of my advertising. And the only thing I'm focusing on a lot with my clients right now is Facebook advertising. So I haven't really done a lot of MSN Ad Center advertising. That said, about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, when I was doing more advertising there, myself or my clients, we found that opt-in pages were still okay. I think as the MSN Ad Center starts to build and grow, like Google did, and they get to the point where they have so many people that they have to find a way to say no, then they probably will start getting a little pickier. But right now, I get the sense that it's like that old Hertz commercial, Hertz and Avis, Avis, we're number 2. We try harder. So I think MSN Ad Center now is the Avis of PPC engines. So they're being a little bit more lenient. They haven't tightened up their terms of service because they want to try to get as much of the people who are frustrated and fed up with Google to go over and use them, of course. You know, they don't have as much traffic, so they need to be a little bit more forgiving, I think, with their terms of service. Now, having said that, the best way to know for sure is be sure you read the terms of service before you start advertising, and stay abreast of any changes. And again, as long as what you're advertising is primarily your own website property, at the very least you have the opportunity to go back and make it compliant if you should ever, you know, fall out of favor. But I think you'll stand a better chance using opt-in pages with MSN Ad Center. It's just absolutely a no-no in Google, but I think it's worth testing in the other engines. Let me see. Den says, awesome advice, Lou. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Den, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that works out for you. Jonathan, membership strategies are very interesting. Yeah, they are, Jonathan. And boy, I would say, you know, whenever we can find a way to create a continuity program, everybody wins. You know, because a legitimate continuity program makes it possible for people not to have to scatter their energy looking for solutions everywhere. They have a great community to tap into. They have a trusted source and authority to help them with their education and with with the value that they get. And I just think it's a great win-win. And there are some memberships that really just shouldn't ever be memberships, right? They're like, don't turn what is a one-time purchase into a membership, because nobody wins that way. Especially, remember that usually you're going to, in a continuity type situation, you're going to be responsible to generate something that is of value each and every month. So, think about the effort of creating a product digitally once and selling it for $300 compared to every month having to justify a $20 expense to somebody. So there's pros and cons, but when it's right and when there's value there and when it helps and the community is a big part of it, continuity programs and membership strategies memberships are fantastic options for your business. Mike says, I recently listened to the excellent session about Facebook. You said that in Facebook advertising it's a bit more affordable than Google advertising. How does advertising on Yahoo and Bing compare to advertising on Google? Well, look at that. Coincidentally, I think we probably answered that question. I've heard that the prices on Yahoo and Bing are starting to be bid up. It used to be a fairly big difference. In other words, could be a factor of 2 or 3. Difference between Google and MSN Ad Center. But since the merger and since they're getting a lot more activity, it seems like it's closed the gap. Now here's the thing, it's an auction system, right? And so if people who are advertising on Google then suddenly want to go and dominate the MSN Ad Center space, and they're doing very well on Google, chances are they're willing to pay a lot more money for the ads. Well, if they're willing to pay a lot more money, guess what? That raises the prices for everybody. So even though there's less traffic, the fact that there are people bidding up the prices just because they can, right? Because they have tested it on Google, they have a profitable back end, they know how to convert, they have a long lifetime customer value. They don't care if they're paying $5 a lead because they know each lead is worth $1,000 in the long term for them. And so it's almost, some of the value of the click is going to have to do with how much traffic they get and so on. But just think, it's a supply and demand auction. So it's going to take, because there's a lot less traffic, it's going to take a lot fewer advertisers to compete for the same amount of traffic. And so the auction and the competition is going to increase more rapidly in a smaller traffic base than it would on Google. And Google has a lot more traffic to go across a lot more advertisers. If you go to MSN Ad Center, less traffic, more advertisers bid up the price, and so you may actually find that the bid prices on MSN Ad Center won't be too much different than Google, especially as time goes by. Again, best thing to do, try it out, right? Here's another thing too. They don't have exactly the same quality score algorithm as Google does, but it's pretty, it's kind of based on the same thing, relevancy, click-through rate, quality of the ad, all those kinds of things. And so what you may find is that your ad in the MSN Ad Center community, in that audience, you get a higher click-through rate, and you get, the higher click-through rate will give you more traffic, more higher click-through rate, and you pay less. And so it is possible that your same ads and your same keywords will perform really differently in both the search engines, because the audience, the demographics might be a little bit different. And so that will contribute to how much you pay as well. So ultimately, the answer is you've got to go try it and test it and optimize your campaign as much as possible. But I wouldn't go over there only because you're expecting to pay less than Google. It might be an additional benefit, but it's probably not long-lived, and you're probably going to want to think about optimizing as much as possible for your ads on MSN Ad Centers as much as you do anywhere else. Okay. And I had a guy, one of my clients, call up and said he was actually paying as much on MSN Ad Center as he was on Google. And initially I thought, well, that's ridiculous, because they've got a tenth of the traffic or whatever. But of course, now the two companies combined, they're number 2 in terms of traffic, but they still have less traffic, and they have more advertisers going over there every day. Remember, Google shut down about, I don't know, I think it was like 15,000 internet marketers or something. And these guys are looking for somewhere else to put their PPC money. What's the obvious choice? Well, Facebook and MSN. So, that's going to create a competitive demand, which is likely going to drive prices up a little bit. So get in while the getting's good. All right, DJ says, I didn't ask, however, I want some help with a Facebook ad. Okay, so DJ, if you are on the line, go ahead and raise your hand. Press *2, or just type in the GoToWebinar control panel what your area code is. There you are. Good, I see you there. Hey, DJ, welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. So as I got to thinking about it, I don't know how specific we can get, because I want to have to show you the ads to maybe ask the questions. But at any rate,
do you have a question about what the ad said, or the landing page, or what part of the ad were you looking for feedback on?
Yeah, there were a couple of things. First of all, I have I'm looking for. I have a product that's called Black Ops Sales. So it's a sales and persuasion product, and I am trying 3 different ads. I'm not getting very much activity on any of them, so I'm kind of curious about this.
Are you okay? So what when you say activity, are you not getting impressions, or you're not getting click-throughs?
No, I'm getting the impressions. I'm just not getting the click-throughs. I don't think my ads are written very effectively, or I think there's something going on with them.
Okay.
Like that.
What's the lead flow? Like when they click on your ad, are you taking them to your Facebook page? What?
No, I'm taking them to an opt-in page.
An opt-in page. Okay.
A squeeze page.
Okay. Okay, and generally,
but they're not clicking on the ad, so it doesn't matter.
What do you got in the ad, more or less? Sort of describe it to me if you can.
Well, on the first one, actually, I've got all the ads here. I could read them to you. They're short, So the first one says Black Ops Sales is the name of the ad, and then it says deep, effortless persuasion resulting in client devotion. Do you know how? Would you like to? What if you did? Free MP3 and more.
Okay.
So I think that one might just be too vague, too far out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Academic or something like that. So tell me about. Oh, this is not your page, right? I'm wondering.
No,
I'm wondering if there's a way that I could get your ad
to
display.
I own that page.
Oh, do you? This one here?
No, wait a minute. No, hold on. I own a page. I own a Facebook page called Black Ops, but it's not that one. No.
Okay. Is Facebook.com/BlackOps going to reach you?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think I have enough fans to actually have registered it that way.
Okay. So your ad, the way you read it to me, what I would say is, okay, you want the opt-in.
Here's the one that I haven't. Let me read you the one that I haven't gotten approved yet, and it's still sitting there waiting for approval. And I think it's probably going to be better because it's just cleaner. Let me find it here first. I had them all up, and now they're scattered.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so I wrote another one that is. No, I don't see it here. How to influence others. Okay, so the headline is How to Influence Others. And this one hasn't been approved yet, so I don't know how this is going to work out yet. This is my third ad. And it says, expert sales and influence patterns and techniques can be learned. Register for a unique webinar and get a free audio. Persuade now.
Okay, who's your target market?
So my target market is on this is like solopreneurs.
Solopreneurs.
Yeah, the people that are going there like they like Eben Pinnigan, entrepreneur, influencers, persuasion, small business owners. They like the Small Business Administration. So they're small entrepreneurs and solopreneurs.
Okay, it occurs to me that you might you might try something like I forget what the stat is, but how about something like 95% of small businesses fail in the first 3 years. Learn to persuade, avoid being a statistic. Click here.
Learn to persuade, avoid being a statistic, huh?
Yeah,
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, something that kind of talks to the fears of, oh God, am I going to make it? Is especially solopreneurs. I mean, it's a tough slug, right? Being a solopreneur, and it's pretty scary for a lot of people, especially first timers. And so I think I would try to get into the mind. Again, we were talking about the voice of the customer earlier, right? So get into the voice of customer and make the ad based on if you can say something in the ad that's rattling around in their heads already, that's probably going to get more of a click through. So, and also if you say, click here now, and instead of for a free audio, say, guarantee your business success, or click here now and stay in and don't lose your business, or click here now and learn how to stay in business. Click here now or learn how to make sales. That's a little bit better of a benefit to them than get a free audio. So talk about what getting that free audio is going to give them as the outcome, and that probably is going to resonate better in the ad.
State the problem, state the solution. Yeah, because clicking here is the solution.
Right. And think about, again, the voice in their heads, right? What are they saying to themselves? What's the thing that's keeping up at night as best as you can guess right now? If you can find a way to put that in the ad and then say, if you click here, I'm going to help you eliminate that problem. That's a powerful thing.
It's not the economy; it's your persuasion skills. Click here.
Yeah. One of my it's interesting you should say that. One of my favorite launches right now is the one that Armin Morin is doing, which he's calling "It's Not Your Fault." I just love it because I've always, it's always been in marketing. We always say it's not your fault, right? It's not the economy, or at least it's not you, it's the economy, or it's not you, it's that nobody taught you how to persuade, or it's not you. And so he's got this thing called "It's Not Your Fault," which I think is great because the truth is, ultimately, it's not our fault, but we are responsible to take action, right? So if there's something that you can say, that sort of plays to that, 95% of business fail because they can't motivate clients to buy. Click here and learn how. Something like that, right? And if I'm a solopreneur and I'm thinking, geez, I've never been a salesperson, and man, if I can't motivate somebody to buy, I'm going to lose my business. Well, maybe I'm going to be inclined to find out how I can prevent that fate.
No, there's a lot of continuity then between that and what the video is that they click onto.
Yeah, good, and that's a good thing, right? That's a really good thing, actually.
Right.
Because then when they click through and then your video pays off on the promise of the ad, then they're feeling good about it, right? And then they're more likely to opt in.
Right, and then they're probably going to think that this is going to walk them right down the path that they're wanting to go down.
Yep.
All right.
So I think what I would encourage you to do is think about what's in it for them and make the ad based on what's in it for them rather than what you know about how to solve the problem and your expertise and your process. Turn it around and say, what are they looking for? Put that in the ad, and then when they come to the video, show them how your expertise is going to help them get what they want. But the initial contact should be what's going on in their head. Whatever words they're using in their head are probably the ones that they're going to recognize and resonate with on the ads.
Yeah, you get so few characters to work with. So
yeah, I know.
Like every letter is critical.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what that's where I'm going with it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, got some ideas?
Yeah, no, that was good. I appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, man. Good talking with you. And let me see. Are we out of questions? Boy, talk about perfect. Out of questions, and it's exactly 9:30. No hands raised, no questions in the inbox. Fantastic. Oh, I just realized what you were talking about here. Look, I didn't realize that this was on screen. Sorry, guys. I just totally missed that. Oh my God. Ridiculous. All right. That was the cookie. I saw the Cookie Monster. I didn't realize what the text said. Oh, gosh, that's bad. All right. So let's wrap it up for tonight. I think a pretty good call, right on time. Lots of great questions and conversations. Thanks for bringing your questions to the call. I really enjoyed being in the conversation with you, and hopefully, by listening in on the discussion and other people's questions, it served you very well, and you took away a couple of good ideas on how you can move your business forward as well. So we'll be talking again on Monday, and at that time, I hope I'll have the video training ready for you, the video stats training for you. In the meantime, have an awesome weekend, and thanks for being here. Your being here allows me to do this work, which is fun and fulfilling, and I appreciate you allowing that for me. Till we talk next time, have a lot of fun, serve a lot of people, do a lot of good, make a lot of money. See you next time. For now, good night. Namaste.